What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Built This. I'm your host, Ryan Cheek, and today I have my good friend, Hunter Gambale, owner of Jersey Devils Adventures. Hunter, thanks for coming on.
Thanks, dude. Happy to be here.
Cool. So for the people that don't know you, just tell us how old are you, where are you from, and briefly, what is Jersey Devil Adventures?
Yeah, Hunter Gambale, 36 years old, born and raised right outside of Hamilton in Mays Landing, New Jersey. Jersey Devil Adventures is a outdoor adventure company based in Hamilton, New Jersey, but servicing Wharton State Forest. So we go back and forth, shuttle between here and there in our largest state park in New Jersey.
Cool. And how long have you guys been operating?
We are in our first official summer. We opened up last August, hit the ground running, and then kids went back to school and it fell off, closed for Halloween. But we opened up April 1st this year, and we are happy to say that things are going well for our first official season.
Great. And what was it like starting in August last year?
It was a grind, man. We applied for everything in March, or I applied for everything in March, and then got held up kind of obstacle after obstacle to get the licensing and the permitting, finding an actual location to operate out of. So when we finally got the permission in August, it was like fire on all cylinders immediately, where I would have preferred to go into this kind of gradually. You can learn the ins and outs of it. We had really 1 month left of summer to do it. So we kind of felt like biting off more than we could chew, but we did it and we got through it and it went well. And I learned a lot in the process.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you at least got to test some ideas to go before you went into a full season. So that had to help a little bit.
Yeah, we were throwing a lot at the wall, kind of seeing what would stick, not so scared to fail with certain things in that first season because we knew this isn't going to be make or break it. But mostly we were really concerned with brand awareness, taking a lot of notes on what customers responded well to so we could go into the wintertime and make a plan to execute on this year.
Awesome. And when did the idea first start?
Yeah, I get asked that quite a bit. I'll tell you, it did not start as a canoe and kayak business. It started in February of last year. I was dreading going back to the job that I had done for
job?
Over 10 years. Commercial fishing between Cape May and Massachusetts. I've been scalping for over 10 years, and it was taking a toll on my body and taking a toll on relationships. I got a fiance now, and being gone for weeks and months at a time was not conducive to a healthy relationship. So trying eagerly to figure out what I could do next without a college degree, without much of a backup plan. And I do a bit of hunting in Wharton State Forest. I've grown up out here. I've got pictures in diapers out here. I was in the winter bow season, and I was realizing so many cars, Pennsylvania plates, Delaware plates, there's all these people out here just coming out just to hike. And I've done quite a bit of travel and gone to a bunch of national parks, state parks, and we've got a void, if you will. You can go to other states and you can do all sorts of recreation. Mainly what interests me was mountain biking. I've rented mountain bikes in a couple places, and I'm like, wow, we've got all these trails here. I would love to do this. How can I get my foot in the door and open up a business similar to what I've used or utilized in other states? So I reached out to the DEP with a very loose request to open up, and I was pretty much responded with, you can't do that. That license doesn't exist, but here is a boat livery license to operate a canoe and kayak outfit if you would like to apply. I said, okay, that would be a start to an adventure brand. I like the sound of that. How do I do it? And they responded back, well, that bid closes in 36 hours. I spent about 10 minutes thinking, okay, do I want to do this? And why not? I figured if I want to start an adventure brand, there's no better place to do it than in something I already know a little bit about. Canoeing and kayaking, I've done that. But I also have a dear friend that owns and operates an adventure tour company in Costa Rica. I got him on the line. I said, hey, if I do this, can I bring you on a consulting level? What do you think? He's like, go for it. So I formed an LLC. I wrote up an operating plan that I thought would work, at least to get my foot in the door, and I submitted it. And here I am today, learning as I go.
So, wait, did all that happen within the 36 hours?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I wasn't so sure. It was a bidding process, right? So I thought, okay, let me at least get something on paper here. I had a friend, Jack Parker, who had said to me, and I just off the top of my head remembered, how cool would it be to have a company outdoor excursions, or I'm sorry, Jersey Devil excursions. And that had always stuck with me. And when I was thinking, okay, venture brand, Jersey Devil Ventures, I'm like, oh, all right, let's get this LLC. We'll apply for that. I Google searched, name's not taken. Damn, okay, so we're getting somewhere. I start looking into what do I need, what sort of licensing, what sort of equipment, what's the budget going to look like, and it looked doable. So that was all in the first day. The second part of that was submitting a bid, and I'm like, what's the chances I really get this? I thought I was bidding on the license. I didn't realize that there's multiple outfits out here. There's 4 of us in total. But at any rate, we put a number out there. It got accepted, and once I got the letter that it was accepted, we had to start figuring out what to do next. And that's where the hurdles came.
Gotcha. Wow, that is amazing. I did not know that, and that's really cool. It sounded like it jump-started you by having this strict 36-hour deadline started to really get something going. That's wild.
I work best under pressure. I'm quite the procrastinator, and I think that, to be honest with you, I think if they said, like, yeah, this is open for the next 2 months, I don't even know if I would have done it. I'd have been like, it's just my personality, man. The 36-hour thing, I was like, okay, let me throw this together. And
you can't overanalyze in 36 hours.
No, there's not much you can do there.
So when you say that you submitted the bid, did you get the actual license? You were ready to go at that point?
So I received an email that says that it was accepted. And then I got an official letterhead saying that you were going to be granted this license agreement. I'm sorry, I was given an email that said the bid was accepted and that I was getting this agreement. And then I was still fishing, so I was still scalping. I'm coming in and out. I'm telling everybody, like, I'm quitting. This is it. I got to open this business. This is when I'm leaving. I got to make X amount more money, and then I'm rolling. And nothing ever showed up. So finally, I email them like, hey, guys, when do I actually get this license? Because I've got a lot riding on this right now. I'm trying to borrow money. I'm trying to purchase big equipment. And they were like, oh, sorry. We actually decided we're not going to give you that agreement because you don't have any employees, and we don't feel comfortable with you running a business of that nature from a safety aspect. So I was like, well, what do I need to do? So they were like, you need to have X amount of employees or volunteers, resubmit this with background. That's when I got Matt on board and was like, dude, I need you to leave Costa Rica and get up here. My family was a huge help. I had a couple other people that were on board to just help in the first season so that it wasn't a one-man show, and then they accepted it. Yeah, so we threw it together, and they finally accepted it in the end of July. Okay. So from March to July was that waiting period.
Okay, and so you had a good job fishing. Did you have a number? You had an exact number in your head that said, okay, this is how much I need to make, and then I'm out? Or was it just like, let me make as much as I can until this can happen?
It was more like, how much time do I need to open this business? Like, how much time do I need to get my marketing, get my website, all that in order, hire and build a business model? Like, how much time do I need to practice these runs? Which I was like, okay, a month. I think 30 days I could do it. So I wanted to work up until that window. It wasn't so much of a numbers thing. Obviously, I was scared to quit and give up that money, but you got to go for it. I mean, that's kind of where I was at with it. It was a wonderful opportunity. I had to take it.
Awesome. All right, so let's go back to last July. When you were thinking about what this is about to be, how close does this current state look at? Like,
it's still not where I envision it. I have a serious problem with never being satisfied. My visions go a lot farther than what's actually a reality. Money being a big part of that. I'm learning a lot about budgeting and how many expenses in a new business are not planned for. In my head, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to open this up. I'm going to crush it in my first couple of months, and I'm going to go to a bank, and I'm going to borrow this money, and I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, and this brand's going to grow, and that's not the case. With that said, I am thrilled with what this looks like right now. The people that have come into my life since we've opened this door have been amazing. Some really awesome relationships that are starting to compound, from the employees to people that have nothing to do with the business that we meet out there on the rivers, people that are involved with the state and other small businesses that have been really helpful. Thrilled with the direction it's going, but I've got bigger plans. It's going to take a couple of years, but it's the plan that I came up with in July is still in my notes and in the back of my head, and that's what we're working towards.
Cool. Awesome. All right, let's talk a little bit about Horn Hub. Tell me, what is Horn Hub? What are you currently doing? And how did it help you establish this brand?
Yeah, man, interesting questions. Horn Hub, for anybody that doesn't know, is a parody account on Instagram, the obvious parody with Horn Hub, Pornhub in the outdoor space, hunting and fishing. I started that in 2017. It was a joke amongst a couple of buddies of mine. It was the name of our group chat on iPhone. We got some hoodies made, and people responded really well to it. I made an Instagram, and then I started to just make viral content and then repost user-generated content. Have people send me their photos, repost it. Caught a viral wave over the years. It grew really quickly. It has since not done much. I don't put very much time into it anymore, especially with this. I don't have it. But there was a time when we sold merchandise and would promote and make viral content and then piggyback that with shirts and hats and stickers to try to sell merch. And, that business never blossomed into what it could have if I would have got a team behind it and worked on some partnerships. But what I did learn along the way is a lot about marketing on social media, how people respond to it, and also really helped me learn how to use some of these apps that I'm using now and able to make things that do really well for us in JDA. Social media has been huge. It's probably one of the biggest parts of our business, if I'm giving credit to our success. Learning how to do that with Horn Hub that goes back as far as 2017. Posting videos, taking a video that's everybody knows, a little movie, and slapping a really relatable caption on it and putting it out there and seeing how the world responds was interesting. It's been fun. I still do it from time to time, but it's more of a hobby now than anything.
Nice. All right, let's go into some more operations stuff. Is your busiest day a Saturday in the summer?
Yeah, it's
all right. What does a typical Saturday look like for you?
We're in a really interesting time right now. We are starting to grow to some numbers that I'm a lot more pleased with. We just, the first week of August, did our first 100-person Saturday.
Oh.
Projection-wise, going into the season, I was thinking we would be doing 100 people Saturday and Sunday from June on. Wasn't the case. Weather crushed us. Right now, we're probably operating at like 60% of where I'd really like to be. We bought enough boats and buses to be able to handle a little more volume. But looking back at last year, we did 30 people on a Saturday. We were all high-fiving like, this is amazing. We only had X amount of boats then, but we got every boat in the water. It's like a celebration, cleaning at the end of the day. Now we did 100 people. There's a lot more stress involved. There's a lot of other factors, more people, more problems. But when everything goes as planned, it's pretty great, man. We've got 10 guys now. It's really cool. Sometimes at the end of the weekend, we'll sit down and I'll ask everybody, what was your favorite part of the weekend? Or did you have any interactions with a customer that really stood out to you? And it's a crazy thing to sit back and know that this came from scratch and to see that we can facilitate 100 guests in a single day.
That's crazy. And so what does your actual day look like, though? What time are you waking up? What are you actually doing on a Saturday?
I get up, 6 on the dot. First alarm goes off. Second one goes off 2 minutes later. That's when I get out of bed, make my coffee. I sit there and go through the reservations. I start to make a mental note of how we're going to break this down logistically. We've got 3 buses. There's 2 guys on each bus. We've got a couple swing guys that come in, and then we have our office at Sweetwater that have 2 guys down there. I sit there, drink my coffee, figure out, okay, it's kind of a little bit of mental Tetris because not all the trailers hold the same amount of boats. Not all the parties have the same amount of people going in the same amount of boats because you've got 2-seat canoes, 2-seat tandem kayaks, single kayaks. I start to get a rough idea of, okay, these guys are going to take out this bus with this many boats. I drive in here, I put it on paper, the guys show up, they get here at 8 o'clock, and we start rocking from there. The guys they're phenomenal. They know exactly when they walk in here, who's getting the locks, who's getting the life jackets, who's sweeping out the buses, and we get the ball rolling.
All right. You come from a wilderness background. Some of your customers have probably never been in a kayak before. What are some things you didn't realize you'd have to explain to people?
Oh, man. Yeah, so we market really hard to outside of Philadelphia on both sides. So greater Philadelphia area, you get a lot of people that they've never experienced the Pine Barrens. They've also never experienced being in a canoe or a kayak before. There's an interesting moment when somebody that has never been in a kayak or in the woods in general first gets put out there on their own. It's interesting to watch how they get kind of come to grips with the fact that, oh, all right, I'm getting ready to be out here by myself. That we have a section of river. There's no homes. It's self-guided. So we've had a couple of experiences where you got to kind of talk them into just like, hey, it's going to be you and nobody else out there, and it's on us to make them comfortable with that.
Do you feel comfortable saying anything wild that happened? We don't have to, though.
I do have a story that I tell some of our guests just because it's universally funny. That happened last year. So we have a section of river that we utilize. It's on the western side of Batstow Village. No homes out there at all. It's not that far from a tar road. You're 2 miles back in the woods. But we were putting a group in last year, and there's a gentleman next to a canoe, clearly a rental, not ours, and he had his kids with him, and the kids were over on the edge sitting on a bank there. And he's walking around with his cell phone doing this, which no one does that anymore. So I already know something's up, but we got to get our people in the water. So we do our thing. We get our guests out. And I said, sir, can I answer any questions for you? Because we're getting ready to get out of here. And he goes, I'm calling an Uber. I'm like, oh, man. And his kids are right there. So I'm like, can I talk to you over here by the bus? He's like, what? I'm like, look, man, you can't get Uber out here. I'm like, not only do they not have 4-wheel drive, but they don't have canoe racks. Like, I don't know what you think's going to happen here, but he looks so frustrated with me for delivering this news. So I'm like, you only have one option. You've got to get your kids and get back in that boat, and you got to paddle 2 more miles to the road, at which point you might be able to get an Uber, but I don't know what you're going to do with this canoe. And we ended up seeing him a couple hours later, showing up, just disheveled, pissed off, and I think the guy ended up flagging down. Someone on the river ended up giving this guy a ride back to where they got it from, but it's just the disconnect between what we know out here, which is you kind of fend for yourself, you plan ahead, you have your vehicles, and people from the city don't exactly have a full grip on that, which is why we're here.
Yeah, they're by themselves.
2 questions I love the most are, do we rent jet skis, and will there be bugs and animals? Asking about the animals as if, like, could we not have that as part of it? But
can I opt for the no animals section?
Yeah, we've had 2 people ask us if we could do this on jet skis, and it's like, you got to go somewhere else. You're missing the point.
Nice. All right, so it's a fun business. You're selling fun. What's a part that's not fun?
The money side of it.
Budgeting.
Yeah. So the whole back end is not my forte. I didn't go to school for this. I'm learning as I go. I want to be the guy that sells fun. I want to build a business where local high school kids are stoked to come work here, and we're having a blast. We're putting a bunch of smiling faces on the buses and selling a good time. To do that, the back end has to also do really well. So the budget's got to be right. When the money comes in, it's got to get spent in the right places. I'm learning, how do I manage payroll? How do I manage the overhead? What sort of costs am I not anticipating that I need to put away for? What sort of money do I need to put into growth in order to put more people out? That stuff becomes really stressful. I've been blessed with some really good people in my life to lean on. My dad's got an incredible business background. Some of his friends have been amazing as almost shoulders to cry on. My brothers are fantastic. They both work in business. So I've got a lot of good resources that have helped me get through this, but that is a part that I do not like. I don't think I'll ever like it. I almost would like to some days have somebody else sit in that chair, them figure out how this thing's going to work on the back end, and me just be the guy that talks on the bus. But we wouldn't get very far if that was the case. So maybe one day.
So you do have some friends and family involved in the business. What are some pros and cons of that?
Friends and family are a massive part of this. I don't think I could have done it without friends and family, to be honest. I've got my dad. He's driving. He came out of retirement to get his CDL. He's one of our bus drivers. I've got 2 very dear friends of mine. They're in here day in and day out. And then my brothers last year, sometimes this year, are lending hands. And some of the family do this for no money, which is incredible. And I will always be incredibly grateful for that. If you guys are watching this, thank you. I probably don't say that enough. But being able to lean on those guys in times when I haven't been able to find enough staff, or even in the beginning when it was like, you have no idea how many people you're going to be doing next week. You can't hire anybody because you might do nothing. And those guys show up and help us get it done. So there's ups and downs. We do not always get along. I don't do very well with ideas that maybe clash with mine when this is my baby, my vision. So we've had some issues with bumping heads, but then we hug it out and we move on. So my dad and I had our biggest fight in my 36 years in existence in this very room. Look back and laugh at that a couple of days later and hug it out. But yeah, so they tell you, I've a lot of advice, don't hire friends and family. I don't know if I agree with that. I don't think I'd be here sitting here in a room calling this a success without my friends and family.
Awesome. Sounds like you have a great support system, and that was really helped you get to this point. All right, let's talk a little marketing, branding. Your buses, your merch, if you guys can see all this, the merch is dialed. How important is brand image in the adventure business?
I think it's everything. Marketing is, I don't have an actual background in it. I didn't go to school for it. But from some things I've done online, seeing the response, I felt really good about being able to get this brand out there. You guys, nobody really sees Shane and Taylor. They're behind the scenes. Taylor's in Florida, Shane's in Charleston. They are behind this, working with me for the website, for the ads, for all that stuff. And this thing would be nowhere. We wouldn't even be a name in the game if it wasn't for marketing, primarily on social media and Meta. So I can't stress enough how important that is. We throw a lot of money at it, throw a lot of ideas at it. Some don't work, but the ones that do work pay dividends.
Awesome. All right, so you got a couple AI videos recently.
Oh, yeah.
And with big reach. How is a viral content like that helping your business?
You got to do it in the right way. I think that there's a lot of people out there right now that don't like AI. They're scared of it. I'm scared of it. But if you can curate something through the right prompts that comes off friendly enough and it's on brand, people react well. They share it. If it gets shared enough, a small percentage of those people might be in the same demographic you're trying to reach with regular ads and regular content, and they will just find your page by default. So big fan of it. I've gotten a lot of hate from it too, but for every hater, there's probably 10 fans out there. So we'll keep doing it.
Nice. And how do you see AI affecting the adventure business, especially locally?
I've seen, it's an interesting question because I didn't pay attention to my quote unquote competitors before we had this business. So I don't know who was really utilizing AI before this, but I know they're utilizing it now. Whether or not that's because we did that, I think that's probably a little bit self-centered to assume so, because everybody's using it. I mean, it's definitely made itself into the adventure space, but I'm pretty sure it's making its way into every space. Us using it and then seeing our competitors use it doesn't like go, oh man, they're using it too. It's like, well, every single person that's trying to grow a business right now is using it, or they should be using it, or they're going to get left behind. I will say there are a lot of people that aren't scared to tell you in your DMs that you shouldn't be using AI. I mean, people are scared of it. I think it's crazy. I do love the fact that if AI is taking jobs, one of the last jobs it's going to take is the canoe and kayak outfitter. So I feel pretty good about that.
So Paddle 9 had to be a good thing to look at when starting this company.
Huge.
What has Matty brought over from Paddle 9, and just how has his experience really helped over here?
Yeah, so Matt Rosenthal, Paddle 9, owner of Paddle 9, been down in Costa Rica in Manuel Antonio, Capos area for over 12 years now. So they do kayaking tours in the mangroves, they do waterfall tours, hiking tours. It's an adventure brand, just like the one we're trying to grow here. The guy has a amazing gift when it comes to the customer experience. So he has pretty much built the model that we execute on the bus. When we get to the customers, we check the customers in. The next steps are, how do we fill that 15-minute gap from their car to the drop-in? And it's with a little bit of education, but also trying to make it fun. That's where he excels, and I learned a lot from him in the first year, just listening to how he delivers it. I don't do very well with, my brain doesn't work on asking people questions out of the blue to spark up conversation. I'm better with, okay, here's the facts. How do I deliver them? You could put him in a room with strangers at any given time and give it 2 minutes and they're laughing, having a conversation. And if you read through our reviews, man, it really shows. So he's been amazing with that. I wish that we could have 10 of them, and this business we'd be franchising this into every river in the state.
All right, let's talk a little money. What's the biggest expense people don't realize comes with the adventure business?
Payroll.
Payroll.
For us, it's payroll and buses right now.
How many buses do you have?
We have 3, and 2 of them are diesel, and when they break down, they're very expensive.
You purchase them?
Yeah, we own them. Trying to get a couple more. We'll not be buying diesels any longer.
Okay.
Gas only. But yeah, so the biggest expenses for me is maintenance, payroll, and marketing. That's pretty much where all the money goes. It's hard to figure out how to staff this properly, because if I only put on 3 guys on a Saturday and Sunday based on the reservations going into it Thursday or Friday, I'll be understaffed. So you got to put more guys on and hope that those walk-ins show up, because we get a lot of Saturdays where you might book 10, 15 reservations just in the 24 hours before you open the doors. But then you get days where it rains a little bit, or there's some other factor, the wind's blowing too hard, and then you don't get anybody. And then I got to sit here with 6 guys that don't want to go home early because they're kids and are only working weekends. It's tough to balance my conscience with my bottom line. I want to pay these guys. I want them to like working here, but also we don't have all the money in the world right now. We got to make it work. So that's a part we're going to have to really hone in on into next year. Every week, it's a big nut. And that, when you put that in with how much I wake up to every morning and see left to Meta or Facebook, we get drained pretty quickly.
What's a money mistake you made early on?
Spending money on, can I curse on here?
Yeah.
Spending money on shit that doesn't matter. Put a lot of money into the marketing for the buses. Put a lot of money into stuff that you don't really get a return on. At the time, I really thought we got up here big. We got to come out of here. When in reality, all the other stuff that we built down the road, the customer experience, little details in the way we run things that word of mouth has helped us with, the reviews have helped us with, that have, in the long game, helped out more than spending money on giving shirts and hats and stickers away and decorating the buses with $8,000 worth of decals. You could have smacked a magnet on those and it would have just done the same.
What's a smart financial decision that you think paid off well?
Buying more boats before I thought I had to.
Boats as in kayaks?
Yeah, canoes and kayaks. So my plan was to scale this. I wanted to, by my 3rd summer, be able to put over 100 people out in a day. And I didn't really have the money to do that. Borrowed, went into debt, came into this summer with way more boats so that we could do it. Wasn't sure that was the move. We were only putting 30 people in a day last year, and that was a busy day. We're now in August, and we have days when there's not a boat in the yard. So it felt expensive at the time, well worth it.
Nice. So now you have tiki boat cruises. Talk to me about them and how you're enjoying it so far.
Yeah, so the tiki boat, I've been a firm believer that I'm not going to be able to make the kind of money I want in this without multiple revenue streams. I didn't quit my job to just be a canoe and kayak outfit. This needs to be an adventure brand, which is what I want, and I want to have people that know us, that know we have multiple things they can do. It's going to take a while to get there, but phase 2 was the tiki boat. There's tiki boats up and down the coast. You go to any beach town from Cape May to Atlantic City to even to Central Jersey, and there's tiki boats. The people in the shore homes, they're using them up. We don't have one on the Mullica River. I wanted to be the first tiki boat on the Mullica. Here we are, and people are responding really well to it. Ours isn't crazy fancy. We can't put a ton of people on it. It's 6 people max, but the people that have been booking it have been raving about it. It's people that are close to here. We've got a lot of Airbnbs in the area, so it's something we're getting on Airbnb experiences, something for those folks to do, and with very little competition.
Nice. And do you think it's 2 different customers? One would be a tiki boat customer, one would be a kayak customer?
2 very different customers. We've only had one group that was kayakers that decided to book the tiki boat, but the kayakers, these are people that they really want a connection to nature. They want to get away and they want some time out in the Pine Barrens. They don't want to be bothered. They don't want to hear any music. They're not drinking. They want to float and explore. The tiki boat customers is the exact opposite. They're trying to party. They want to put the tunes on. They want to have a cooler full of drinks. They want to hit Sweetwater before and after. So two different people, but both having a great time in their own way.
Nice. If you could add any crazy new adventure
Mountain biking.
Okay. Is that coming, or is that just hopeful?
I'm trying. All right. We keep trying and getting pushed back.
Because they don't have a license for it?
Because a license doesn't exist. Now, I started to make some headway, and then the person that I was going to need to sign off on that left their position, so that kind of started a clean slate. Then we got so busy with this summer, I don't deal with that at all. I haven't touched that topic with them since the spring. I'll be back on that come fall. So hopefully that's at some point. They said they were enthusiastic about it. I don't know why they wouldn't be, but we would love to be the first in the state to operate in a state park.
Nice. All right, so this is a seasonal business.
Yep.
You have all winter of not doing much. You're starting a Christmas, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, a Christmas decorations company. I don't know if that's...
Holiday lighting.
Holiday lighting, that's the word.
Yep.
What's it like trying to start something new while running something new?
Stress. It's a lot of stress, but...
And talk to me about your vision of it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I've gotten to the point now where I used to think, even my dad used to always say, you can't do it all. Don't bite off more you can chew. I've come to the conclusion that I quit my job. I don't have a choice but to bite off more I can chew and then figure out how to chew it. It's like, if I don't, I'm going to be back asking him if I can live at his house with my fiance. So we got to get a couple other irons in the fire, which brings me to LED elves. I have this seasonal business that shuts down on Halloween. I have a friend in Knoxville, Tennessee that does very well with this. So he's helped me out again on a consulting level, almost the same way Maddie has. And it sounds like it's going to do really well here. So we've built the structure mostly based off that, but with a couple things that I think will do well up here. So we're going to launch that in September.
All right, passion into profits. What's your advice for someone who wants to start a business around their passion?
If it's really a passion, don't listen to anybody else around you and just go for it. And don't take advice from anybody that's not doing what you want to do. Don't take advice from anybody that doesn't have what you want. There's some things in life that I wish I'd have done a long time ago. Listening to advice from people in my life, or more so being scared of what people in my life will think. And I can tell you that for anybody that's in your life that's going to hate on something you're trying to do, because you might fail at it. Not every step of the way appears to be a success. So there's ups and downs to it. And if there's anybody in your life that's going to hate on that or think that it's a failure, I can tell you that there's somebody in your future that will cheer you on and that will come into the picture, that will reassure you that what you're doing is the right thing for you. And it's also the right thing for more people. Like for me, it's finding employees and finding customers that believe in this. There was people that didn't believe in this when I started it, and I don't really talk to them anymore because people are filling their space.
Awesome. And so that wraps it up. Where can people find out about Jersey Devil Adventures?
JerseyDevilAdventures.com, bookjda.com, or any of our socials at Jersey Devil Adventures.
Awesome. Hunter, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Appreciate you having me.
See you guys later.